from the gutter to growth. And I have an awesome guest with me today, Miss Deborah. And we are going to dive into some deep discussion today. I'm just so happy to have you, Deborah. How's it going today?
It's going well. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Look, we are gonna just dive right in and just get down to the nitty gritty about life. And just reading over your story, you have a story to tell, and I am just excited for you to be able to tell your story to the audience. You know, we talk about when we hear the word dysfunction, people run from that word. That is not a word. That's not a word people want to use, but you use it through and through on your platform, and we're gonna just dive deep and talk about that. Are you ready, Deborah?
I am. I'm ready.
Awesome, awesome. So, look, you are passionate when it comes to families healing from dysfunction. That is your passion. But we know in order to heal from dysfunction, it first starts with honesty. And that can be the toughest thing. But what was the moment when you realized I have to break the silence and I have to do it now if I want to change my life? What was that moment like for you?
So, I am a mother of five. I have 7-year-old twins, a 17-year-old son, an 18-year-old daughter, and a 20-year-old son.
Well, you look young
Thank
for
you. I'll be
grown
40 on the
kids.
21st of this month.
Welcome to the
Uh,
40s, girl. It's nothing like it.
I heard it was the new 20, so
It
come through.
is. I'm 45. It is. Oh,
So what what really pulled me into wanting family togetherness is the fact that my children are disconnected from their family outside of like my sisters and my brother and my nieces and nephews. Like my cousins, my uncles, my aunts, all of them, they don't really know them. They don't know extended cousins. And when I was a younger mom, they would say stuff like, "Hey, we don't go around nobody. We don't
wow.
know, we don't know our cousins." And I'd be like,
I can
"Yeah,
relate.
everybody's doing their thing,
Hmm.
and as time is going on, I'm just like, I don't like that's not okay. Like that's a form of dysfunction to be in the same city and have such a huge family on both my mom and my dad's side, and my kids don't even know half their people. Like my daughter could potentially date one of her cousins
Oh,
because
wow.
of the disconnect. She don't even
Wow.
know, who all her cousins are. So I I don't like how it looks. I know as children when we were growing up, we did everything together. We
Hmm.
celebrated on Christmas, Thanksgiving. We even came together on Halloween. There would be a house
Wow.
full of kids and
Yeah.
adults and
Yeah.
food and fun, and none of that's happening now, and it's disturbing, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, so many people can relate. And as you're telling your story, it just made me go back to my own childhood, how I was with my cousins all the time. And you're exactly right. Now it's like a divide. You know, you don't have that, anymore because of families being so dysfunctional. And then too, as a parent, you wanting to protect them from that dysfunction. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just trying to balance and navigate, protecting your family, but still wanting to have them know who their family is. And that's huge, in the life of many people. So um and the thing about dysfunction, and you tell me your story about it, a lot of times that disconnect comes because things have happened and people have stayed silent. And when you become an adult, you're like, these things were going on, but we had to silent, you know,
Stay in a child's place.
yeah, stay in a child's place. It's not your business. You know, you can't question or ask
Mm-hmm.
about things that just doesn't
Yeah.
seem right. So when
Right,
you
it created
become,
an atmosphere of be quiet and don't say
hmm
anything, and now you
hmm
have a bunch of adults who are quiet and not speaking on things, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Yes, that and that is a huge thing. So let's roll into that because this next question really talks about that. It says many people stay silent out of fear, out of guilt. Especially in faith-filled families. Because so
Mhm.
many things happen, even in the home of churchgoers and believers. But how do you honor the family dynamic while still being able to expose the dysfunction that is still not right? Like, how do you draw the line between being loyal but being truthful? Like, this stuff is going on and it's not right.
I feel like the only way that you can do that is with like-minded family members.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have people who aren't willing to face dysfunction and
Mm-hmm.
talk about it and hold themselves accountable while holding others accountable,
Mm-hmm.
you really can't do it. Like I have a lot of family members just like, "Oh, you be talking about that," or they'll pretend like they listen to my podcast, or they're just like, "I don't listen." I don't, and that's okay. I tell people all the time,
Yeah.
it's okay because I talk about a lot of stuff that nobody's ready to talk about. Nobody wants
Yeah.
to face, and it's okay. Whenever you're ready to come over here, come on to
I'm
this side.
here.
And
Yeah.
but I can't do that with anybody who's not willing to go down the road with me. So I can only
Yeah.
respect and develop with people who are willing to walk the road with me.
Now, I heard you say because you have young adult children. I have a child that's 21 and a 14-year-old son, so I'm kind of able to talk about some of those situations of dysfunction because sometimes they just want to know, why aren't
Hmm.
we going to see your dad, or why aren't we, which you try to create safe opportunities for that. But how do you navigate through that with your children if they are interested in certain family members?
So it really depends on the dynamic of whatever that family member they want to see. Like I'm
Mhm.
not saying that I want my kids to be close to all of my family members. I want everybody to come together in kumbaya because there
Mhm.
are some family members who aren't deserving of being around my children
Mhm.
because of whoever they are
Yeah.
as a person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if it is somebody who I feel like they can have a healthy relationship with, so actually, right now, we have a family member on my older kids' dad's side who they hadn't seen since they were like maybe middle school, elementary school. And we recently ran into her, and she had been reaching out to me like, "Oh, I want to, be in the kids' life and stuff."
Yeah.
And she's a very sweet individual. She's somebody that I am glad to have in their life. It's just
Yeah.
our times didn't come together,
Right.
and so now, like with me being conscious and saying, "Hey, I want family togetherness," it's like you can't say that and then not act on it. So
Right.
with
Right.
her, we've made time to come together. She's come to functions. We've gone to their house for functions. So there are family members that I'm willing to go the mile and we can meet each other, but there has to be a relationship that I know that's healthy for my
Yes.
children because
Yeah.
I don't believe in taking them around people
Yeah.
who are going to be teaching them something, who's not going to show them something positive. Like, yeah, so it has to be something that makes sense.
Yeah. And you're drawing me off the script because I just didn't know how this conversation was gonna go. So you're drawing me to other questions because the question I have for you is, what do you tell your child if somebody was once healthy, doing well, and they've been around them, but now they're not healthy again to be around them? Like, how do you how have you handled that, especially I'm sure with some of your adult kids, like they've been around somebody who they've enjoyed, but that
Hmm.
person is just not healthy now. Like, you saw them going away, you don't really want your kids to go or be associated with.
Hmm. Yeah, so I'm really honest with them. I've always been
Mhm.
very honest with them, even as young children.
Mhm.
I was honest with them to a point because, it's only so much you can tell a young child. But now, as 17, 18, 20 year olds, I tell them flat out,
Because they
like,
see it.
look, so and so, they on drugs, they drink too
Yeah.
much, they keep a lot of stuff going, they be
Hmm.
gossiping, they do. I'm honest with them. Like, I'm not sugarcoating it, because one of the foundations of healing is honesty. So
Yeah.
I can't go on my podcast and say, oh, you got to do this, 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 and
Hmm.
I'm really adamant, and I really stand firm on the things that I talk about, because I don't want to come off as one of those people who's like just trying to like teach people. Like, I'm gonna teach you
But
how
you're
to
not
heal,
living it. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like I can't
Hmm.
teach you. What I can do is tell you my story and just be transparent and hope that you hear something that I say that I went through, that you can be like, oh, okay, you went
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah.
So all in all, to answer your question, it's just I'm gonna be honest with them. Now, the younger kids, I have 7 year old twins. I'm more discreet with what I tell them,
Mm-hmm.
because what they understand and what they can take in is a little lighter, but they smart as heck too.
Yeah.
So I tell them what I can tell them, to the length of what
Right.
I feel like
Yeah.
they need to know,
Yeah.
because they don't need to know
Yeah.
everything. But them
Right.
older kids, I'll tell them
Yeah.
everything. I'm not holding nothing back.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And as a mother of five, our biggest fear, um, mine as well, coming from dysfunction, my biggest fear was like, oh my God, I don't want my children to take on generational cycles. Which is why we're shielding and we're protecting them, because we want to curse those cycles at the root, and we don't want it to come in our household. So,
Absolutely.
what have you done to try to stop those cycles from, being a part of your children's life? And, how have you had to model for them to prevent those things from happening?
Again, honesty is
Mm-hmm.
one of the things, and then I have an open door policy. You know how you go to a job and they're like, oh, we got an open door policy, like, you
Mm-hmm.
can. I have an open door policy. If there is something that they feel is not going right, they're allowed to speak on it. If I say
Mm-hmm.
something to them and I offend them in a way, they're allowed to speak on it.
Good.
I've created an atmosphere where they can hold me accountable, and I feel like that's something
Awesome.
that we've lacked as children. So
Yes.
it made us be quiet on a lot of things.
Hmm.
So sometimes I'll be like, all right, cool, like, don't do too much. I get it. I said
Right.
this and I didn't. Okay, I
Yeah.
got it. Um, but
Yes.
I love it because it's always done in a respectful way. Like,
Hmm.
I don't think that a lot of people can understand that children can come to you and tell you you're wrong and it still be respectful.
Yes. Yes.
So I allow them to do that. And another thing, one of the things that I'm really breaking down is financial
Mhm.
literacy, because I
Yes.
don't, we had zero financial literacy. So I'm really big on credit,
Yeah.
pay your bills,
Mhm.
and those type of things, because I like the position that I'm in now. I feel like I'm in a really good position as far as like my home space and where I
Mhm.
live, and the school that I'm able to get them into.
Yeah.
However, it took me a long road to get
Right.
here. And I don't want to have to go through all the hoops and loops that I went through. So I'm really big on, did you pay your credit card bill?
Right.
You got to pay your
Yeah.
credit card bill. If you don't pay
Yeah.
nothing else, pay that credit card bill.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's one of the conversations that we did not have in my household. Like, we didn't
Yeah.
talk about saving money or any of those things. So yeah. So all in all, definitely accountability.
Yes.
Um,
You just spoke on so many things, I mean, I come from a generation where you might have a bill in your name and you five. So it's like
Ooh, let's talk about it, cause
it's like, so it was definitely no talking about credit, and having good credit and
mm-hmm,
saving, like saving what does that mean? That
right.
was like, if you got something, it was gone like immediately.
Yes.
Just it was nothing talking about that. It was really like a rat race. Like, we were
Mm-hmm.
just in survival mode,
Yes.
just living. So one of the things I told myself, and I don't even know where it came from, I just was like, I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna manage money better. I want better. Like, not that somebody trained me that it was better, but it's just
Hmm.
something within me was like, it got to be something
Something
better
better than
than
yes.
this,
Like
you know.
this is not
Um,
it. Yeah.
yeah, but you're right. It was no talking about financial literacy. It just none of that, was talked about. And even family now don't really understand about, saving and building and financial freedom. Like, so
Hmm.
you're throwing out things that I agree with. Like my child today, I'm like, we have to do another contract for you because I'm teaching you how to be studious and how to work and earn, and
Hmm.
save, all those things that we didn't have. So you're definitely on to something. So I'm excited
Yeah.
about that. Um,
Thank you.
so I work in the field of education, so I deal with a lot of psychologists, and that is something that you are diving into, special people that go into psychology, because that to me is such a huge service of trying to help people when you go into that. So
Hmm.
as you're, in school, being studious with the psychology, also navigating the lines of healing, how has that combination, the two of those, like how are they coming together and shaping you, and especially with what you have going on, and what you're putting out into the world.
I'm laughing because I'm just like I'm always trying to diagnose somebody, but
I do too, because I'm in it. I work with students with disabilities, so I always be like, oh, that's probably,
yeah, I'm
so.
like, okay, I see. You know, I'm not licensed or anything, but
Yeah.
I started back in 2011 earning like my psychology
Mm.
credits. I was actually in nursing school. And as I went through my
Wow.
clinicals, I was like, you know what? I'm a nurturer. I love caring for people, but I really don't think that nursing is for me.
Hmm.
And it stopped working out in a way where I got pregnant my second semester with my
Okay.
twins, and I ended up having to drop out. And I was like, you know what? I liked the paperwork. Like I liked the part where you were having to like figure out like the laws and all of those
Right.
type of things.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I want to get into something like that. So I actually just like almost a year ago started going back to get my bachelor's for psychology. So
Awesome.
the way they tie in together is like a lot of the things that I'm learning at school. I incorporate a lot of that information into my podcast. So I'm able to like break down some
I love
definitions
that.
and
Yeah.
those type of things because one of the things that like I know I'm spiritually led, but like what I tell people all the time, I'm like, why are you going to school for psychology? Like, well, my psychology degree is going to get me in rooms that being a podcast host is not
Right.
going to get me in.
Right.
So, and then
Yes.
also I need to understand some stuff. There's some
Hmm.
things that I just don't understand. And then
Hmm.
also my desire is to work in a atmosphere where I'm helping people who
Yeah.
mental health is in the
Yes.
toilet and
It's
I'm helping bring
yes.
them up out that toilet. Like
Yes.
that's
Yes.
a passion for me.
Yeah.
And I can't get into any of those. I'm pretty sure that the most high could put me in one of those positions without the
Hmm.
degree. But I want the degree. Like
Yeah. It's
I
just
want that
something
degree.
about, yeah, that integrity piece of, I am qualified,
Yes.
I've lived it, but I've also studied it. So,
Not to
and I'm
mention
like
I
that
paid for
too.
all this schooling and
Yeah.
I only got like a semester and a half left,
Awesome.
so yes, so I went into it with over 100 and something credit hours. So I've gotten
Wow.
all these credit hours. It's either let those go down the drain and don't do anything or go back to school and just take the psychology courses I need to get the degree. It was like
Yeah.
40 hours. Who wouldn't
Wow.
do that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, kudos to you for
Thank
following your
you.
heart, because sometimes people would just be like, I'm just gonna continue. I started this path of nursing, or I started this path of being a lawyer, whatever it is. And, they're feeling that nudge, like, let's take a detour, but they're scared of the detour, but that
Mhm.
detour will be the best thing that can happen for you. So kudos to you for having, the courage to take that detour.
Thank
So
you.
that just brings us to, of course, my podcast is talking about people being stuck, in the gutter.
Mhm.
Like, and what happens is what keeps us stuck is like we stay silent. We let the
Mhm.
voices of fear, we let just the traumatic experiences we've had, we continue to let those things control us. So, just speaking to my audience, like, what would you like to share with them for anybody who's feeling stuck and they don't really know how can I free myself of getting unstuck, because of shame or guilt. Like what would you tell that person that's listening?
So first, you want to figure out like why. You have to know the why, because if you don't know the why, like how do you get out of it? So you
Mhm.
want to figure out the why, and then you have to do things that make sense to make you feel unstuck. So if you say you're a mom and you may feel like oh, I got kids, I don't, and this is something I can speak on because this is real life for me. So you're a mom, you're a single mom, you don't have a husband, you don't have a man, you got these
Mhm.
kids, and you
Mhm.
just feel like you can't do anything, like you
Mhm.
can't work, and you have to find some type of avenues. Like there's so many resources out there and so many free things that people don't know about. And I love sharing resources like with everybody. Like if I know
Yes.
something, hey, I'm
Yes,
resourceful.
like
Hey,
here.
so
Yes.
so it's just all about networking with the right people, opening your mouth. Like a lot of people don't say anything when they're in a situation. Like you just walking around feeling stuck, but
Mhm.
nobody knows. A lot of times,
Yeah,
as
staying
moms, will be like,
silent.
"I'm okay. I'm
Mhm.
okay. I'm okay." No, it's okay to open up, say that you need
Right.
help, be honest with yourself, and then be honest with others.
Exactly.
You can't be honest with everybody because some people don't tell
Right.
their business, so they gonna tell other people. But be
Yes.
honest with yourself. Like I can't, and this might sound cocky, but I can't think of a time where I was actually like feeling stuck, like physically, because I've
Mhm.
always been a go getter. Like
Right.
I've been working since I was 15.
Yes.
Like my kids, that's all they know for me. And this is
Yes.
gonna end soon because I gotta stop working as hard as I do. But like I just another thing is like doing self-care things, like
Mhm.
taking care of yourself, loving on yourself, whatever
Mhm.
that looks like. If that's like going to the nail shop,
Right.
getting you one of those little foot spa things, taking time
Mhm.
for yourself. I feel like a lot of moms, we just feel like we just gotta go, 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 and that can make you feel stuck. And then
Yes.
like your thought process, what are you thinking? Like what are you telling yourself?
Mhm.
Like you may need to put some daily affirmations on some sticky notes and put
Yes.
them on your mirror, so when you're getting ready in the morning, you just say that to yourself while you brushing your teeth. Like whatever it is you feel like you feel stuck on. AI is a very resourceful thing. Go on
It
there, go
is.
on ChatGPT, and whatever you feeling, ask AI to give you some affirmations for that time
Right. For
and
that
write it
particular
down.
thing.
And when you start like telling yourself certain things like I am enough, I am
Right.
beautiful, you'll
Mhm.
start believing that. And then
Exactly.
get away from people who mean you no good. We stick around with people who don't really who
Mhm.
not for us too
Right.
long.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to, I don't care who it is. I say this on my podcast all the time. It might be family, it could be a parent. I'm not
Yes.
saying completely cut them off and never deal with them again, but when people are negative in your life, you have to deal with them a certain way.
Right. Right.
So the people that you're around can make you feel stuck as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we call that in our household, you have to have a sense of who's pulling too much energy from you.
Hmm.
Like if you feel
Energy
like you're
vampires.
yeah, if you feel like, oh man, when I'm around this person, my energy is just sucked dry, then you have to tell yourself, you know what? I have to limit, you know, and choose wisely, how much time I give them. And some people you
Hmm.
just can't give them none because
Yep.
it's just not worth it. I don't care,
Yeah.
like you said, if they're family
Hmm.
or friends, it's just not worth it. And I don't know, I believe once you hit 40, you gonna just, I don't know what happens when you hit 40. You just become a new
Yeah.
person. Like, it's just, I can't
Hmm.
even explain it. People used to tell
Yeah.
me that. But it is true. Like, you even go to another level of saying, I don't do that. I don't have time for
Hmm.
that. And you're just okay. You're at peace with that. Would you say though that your podcast and talking things out with guests and other people, that is reviving to you as well, like having the that outlet is good and healthy for you?
Yes, 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 and
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for Pride Match because they have put me in contact with a lot of people that I would have never crossed paths with,
Right.
at least not this early on. And I've learned a lot of things that
Hmm.
it's like, wow, okay. So,
Yeah.
and I've seen through a lot of these interviews like my growth. I'm like,
Yeah.
did I just say that? Okay,
Right. Yes.
ooh,
Yes.
look.
And that's really ultimately like when I tell people like the reason I stepped out, I didn't want to step out. I was content like just being in high and doing my own thing, being peaceful. But it's so many people that need our story, and if
Hmm.
they're open to listening, then they can find their thing. Like what is your thing? Everybody has a thing that will help, free them and give them the outlet as well to pour out into other people, because that's what we're doing. We're pouring out to other people, and that in itself is a gift for us and refreshing to us. So if you're listening, you have to find your thing. Find your thing.
Find your
Um
thing and don't let people make you feel bad because you don't just want to deal with them.
exactly.
Because family
Exactly.
is real good at guilting you if you feel
They
if they trying to hold you stuck and you decide not to deal with them. Well, I'm your this, I'm your that. You have to deal
yeah.
with me. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You're not obligated.
Yeah, and I tell myself I'm not doing what I'm doing for my family unless they want it. If you want it,
Mm-hmm.
you can have it.
Yep.
But I'm doing it for the people that the Lord is placing in my path who want to
Yes.
receive it. And then I'm going on. If you want to come,
Yep.
you're welcome, but you have to become numb to the people who are not in your corner. And it's sad to say a lot of
Yeah.
times it's not family or people close to you that you thought was gonna be
Yes.
for you, because they just
Yeah.
don't get it, and they may get sick of it. Like, who are you to go and have a
Yeah.
podcast and think
Yes.
you can speak to?
I just did a episode probably about a month ago, or probably a little more than a month, on the lack of support when it comes to family and
Wow.
how family is just not. And I was very
Wow.
passionate in that, in that episode
That
because
is
it's
saying
a
a lot.
real thing. It's a real thing about with family and just not being supportive. It's just for whatever reason, whether it's jealousy or
Hmm.
it's just, I feel like a lot of people just grew up not knowing how to support.
Yeah.
I didn't know how
Yeah.
to support, and I was in a church family where we supported everybody for everything. I was going to
Yeah.
funerals of people I didn't know, weddings I didn't know, birthday parties. I was at all type of stuff, but it
Yes.
was like so and so having this, we gotta go support.
Yeah.
And I was showing up because I'm like, I want somebody to support me. So I
Yeah.
was pouring out the energy that I wanted
Yeah.
to receive. And so
Yes.
that it's just instilled in me now. Like if I
Yes.
can support you, I probably only
Yes.
got 5 free minutes out the day, but them 5 free minutes, here I come. What's up?
Yes. Yes. Even
So
if you just show, and that's the thing. That's how our church family is. It's like you support, and they'll say, even if it's 5 minutes, if you could stop by 5 minutes, give a hug, like,
mhm,
we just want to see your face. And I had to learn that too, because I didn't see that. I didn't have that,
mhm,
so that was not my norm either. So I get it. Like, we probably could talk
mhm.
about dysfunction all day if we start opening up our story. So,
Mhm.
and you mentioned your church family. How is your spirituality, your belief system? How has that played a role and helping you face, family dysfunction and rebuild your identity. Because really, that's what it is. Like when you come out of dysfunction, it's almost like you have to rebuild and figure out,
Hmm.
okay, who am I? Because I clearly don't want to be that. So who am I? So how has your faith help you navigate through that and find your true identity?
So it's helped in a tremendous way, and I like that you said rebuild because when I think of like my journey of healing and spirituality and everything, I think of like a plain clear foundation, and I'm building the walls and we're building
Hmm.
the floor, and now we're
Hmm.
going to put up the drywall, and then next we're going to do a roof. And that's like what I really think of when I'm doing it, because it is a process. It's a
Yes.
process of, and then you might have one day where rain and the walls you built over here fell down. It's
Talk
one of them
about
rainy
it.
days, you
Yes.
might be sitting around crying and feeling like, what am I doing? Why am I
Yeah.
here?
Right.
And those are the moments where I have to sit back and I got to breathe and take deep breaths and
Yes.
pray.
Yes.
Uh, Praying before I walk out the door because it's a
Yes.
crazy world.
It
Praying while I'm
is.
driving down the highway. Um, I will say I pray a lot more now than I
Yeah.
ever have. Um, so it's like my faith and my spirituality and my healing journey are, they're one and the same.
Wow.
They are
Love
best
it.
friends. They
Yeah.
hold hands.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Yes. I love it. Because they have to be. Like,
Hmm.
especially for us to continue to grow, because you have to just be reminded, like, who am I? And when
Yeah.
learn who you truly are, that it's not by the family that you've come from, because we couldn't help that. That was out of our
Right.
control, but we can choose who
Yeah.
we become now. And thank God
Hmm.
that I'm not
Yes.
stuck to
Yes.
the family that,
Yes.
so, but
Yeah,
I
it's all
love
about that
that.
accountability.
Hmm.
Accountability, holding. Because I feel like without the faith and without the spirituality, I wouldn't have that voice that is holding me accountable, even when I don't want to do the
Yes.
things that I'm telling other people they should do. It's like, how
Yes.
you gonna tell somebody to, how you gonna tell people to rest and you not resting?
Right.
Like you
Right.
telling people, oh, you gotta get rest, you gotta do this, but I was just going off of 3 hours of sleep
Hmm.
this all day today.
Yeah.
You might can't tell, but I just woke up from a nap. So
But you have to.
I'm
I
going
did too.
to.
Look, I did. It was raining, and I'm like, "Ooh, let me just lay down and just." I don't, but I ended up falling asleep. But you're
Oh, I knew I was
right.
going to sleep. I knew it. That was a planned nap, baby. The twins came here. They was like, "You finna go to sleep?" I said, "Yeah." They was like,
Yes.
"Tiffany, go ahead, baby. Go ahead.
Yes.
I'd rather you go to sleep with me than keep coming in here asking me stuff when I'm trying to sleep.
Exactly.
You go ahead. You lay down
Exactly.
too. I got y'all. We gonna have a sleep date.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So
love it. I love it. So look, oh my God, this time has went by so fast, but one more question. So when you think about your work and your podcast, the healing version, I love that. What's the one truth you want every listener to walk away with, especially those who are still in the gutter?
one truth that I want everyone to walk away with. So the one truth that I want everybody to walk away with is that you will not reach your greatest length, your greatest heights, your greatest whatever it is that's in your heart, because I feel like everybody has a something in their mind that they see themselves doing in a positive light, whether they speak on it or not. You will never reach that thing if you, one, don't believe in yourself, two, don't take the necessary
Wow.
steps to do it. You have to take, you gotta, the only thing that
Yes.
bad that can happen, I feel, is that you didn't try. If you fail, guess what? You learn from it. So
Right.
now when you get back on that ladder to climb to get to that thing again, you know what you did the last time that didn't make sense. So we're gonna
Right.
take another avenue. And being true to yourself. You gotta
Wow.
get that
Love it.
mirror. You gotta look in that mirror, because a lot of times we like to point the blame. Like, I can sit here and blame my mom and dad all day for the way
Yeah.
my life turned out and
Yeah.
be like, yeah, they didn't give me a good life.
Mm.
I didn't. My dad wasn't around. My
Mm.
mama. moved us from pillar to post,
Yes.
but that's not my story.
Right.
Now that's part of my story,
Yeah.
but that's not getting me to where I need to
Right.
go and how I can help my kids be emotionally intelligent
Exactly.
adults.
Yes.
So, to all in all, in conclusion, you have to get that mirror and look in that mirror and say, what is it that I am doing as a person that's holding me back from my highest good? And once you
Amen.
figure that out, baby, you in there. You got this.
Amen. Look.
Once you figure out how you are your stumbling block, you ain't gonna let nobody else be a stumbling block, because you're gonna
Exactly.
be able to recognize, oh, you are not here for my greatest good. You don't
Mm,
mean me no good.
mhm.
Blocked, cut off.
Right.
But
Immediately.
immediately, but as long as you in your way, you're gonna let everybody else be in your
Mhm.
way too, because you don't care enough to be your own,
Mm.
to remove your own stumbling block. So I
Wow.
encourage you to look within, look in that
Mhm.
mirror, say what I'm doing, where
Yes.
I'm screwed up at, like the
Yes.
relationships that don't work out. We love blaming the other person. Well, they didn't do this, and this. How did you play a part in
Mhm.
the relationship not working out? We
Right.
always got to look at ourselves, because a lot of times it be us.
Yes. I love that, Deborah. Look, in that little bit of time,
Yes.
we have talked about so much. But Deborah,
Yes.
before I let you go, tell the people how they can find you.
Yes. So I am on Instagram. You can follow the Healing Version podcast on Instagram, also on Facebook. But you can skip all of that. And on July 21st, on my birthday, my website will be dropping. It is thehealingversion.com. And just go to thehealingversion.com on July 21st. Subscribe. You get all the news. All of my social medias will be linked. But in the meantime, you can subscribe to YouTube. The Healing Version is on all major platforms: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, I said Spotify, Amazon, all of them.
Yeah, I
So,
love
yes,
it.
tap in and hear some of the conversations. Some of them is me just talking to you, some of them is me speaking with other people. I've had some really powerful people come on and share their stories. Really, really powerful. So, some good stuff for you. So,
I love it. Well, thanks everybody for joining from the gutter to growth with one of the co-hosts, Yashika Benford. Until next time, I'll chat with you later. All right. That was so